We've talked so much this week about the report you had over the weekend that one of the reasons that the Dolphins wanted to get Tua on the field was because they want to be able to get a full evaluation of him since they have the Texans' first pick, which could wind up being a very, very high pick in this draft, and there could be really good quarterbacks there. So take us through that for those who didn't see the reporting on what the Dolphins' thinking is right now relative to Tua.
Look, there are a lot of reasons that the Miami Dolphins went to Tua at the time that they did. But one of those reasons, in a sea of many, is the fact, as you mentioned, Greeny, that they have not only their first-round pick, but they have the Texans' first and second-round draft picks. The Houston Texans right now are one of 5 teams that have only one win. Behind only the winless New York Jets, the only winless team in the NFL. Sorry to rub that in there, Greeny. But basically, the Houston Texans are in play here for a top 5, top 3, potentially even top overall pick in the NFL draft. So the Dolphins want to take a long look at Tua to know exactly what they have to be able to move forward in the right way with the picks that they have. When we look ahead to the draft next year, we see Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, some highly rated quarterbacks. People say Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. They say Justin Fields isn't far behind him. Trey Lance has a great reputation as well. And so the Dolphins have to know going forward exactly what they're going to do. And we've seen teams like the Cardinals do what they've done with quarterbacks, double quarterbacks. So again, it just depends. But the Texans' pick in the Dolphins' pocket entered into that decision.
Yeah, it is. And again, it is Murray that they're playing here. Go ahead, Dominic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I've been wondering this since the report came up. Is the idea that they want to get Tua out there, does it say more about their evaluation of Tua up until this point in practice in that single game, or does it say more about the prospect that's out there? Because I think that it was obvious, or somewhat obvious, with the Arizona situation, is that it's about the quarterback that they had, Josh Rosen at the time. They were not satisfied with that. Then it said about Kyler Murray necessarily. I know it's a little bit of both, but I'm just wondering if you have any insight on that particular thought, Adam.
Nick, I think what it is basically is they have a quarterback that they believe in. They have a quarterback that they really like. But we never know what a quarterback is until we get an extended look at him over the course of a season. And so that's why they put him in. Again, one of the reasons they want to take a long look at him to make sure that he's the guy they believe he is. If he's not, they're then in position to make a decision. Are we better off going another direction? Or do we like what we see? They watch him every day in practice. They see him in the game on Sunday. They like what they have in Tua. They believe in Tua. That's not the question. That's not the issue. The issue is with all this draft capital to make sure that they do the right thing going forward for this organization, whether that's taking another quarterback, whether that's taking the best offensive lineman in the draft and having a block for Tua, whether that's taking a wide receiver in the draft like Jamar Chase to give him to Tua. So they have to see what they have in last season's number 1 overall pick.
What do you think of this, Lewis, as a front office perspective?
Look, you know what? It's funny, man, because this stuff is all over the place as far as what does taking a long look mean. So if a guy who's a rookie who's going to play for 8 games, all of a sudden now that's a long look as far as trying to decide whether or not you have a franchise quarterback. Where some people say, well, you know what? A guy needs to sit for a year. You need to take your time. You need at least 3 years in a good system, a system that's been in place. You know, he needs a good mentor in front of him. Some people say, well, that's the ideal situation. You know, kind of like what Patrick Mahomes went into in Kansas City. Sit behind Alex Smith. You have Andy Reid. You have Doug Peterson, Matt Nagy. You have all these guys. Now with Tua's, well, after 8 games, we're going to figure out whether or not we should go ahead and draft another quarterback high in the first round. The scale is all over the place. It's kind of crazy to me. Look, I understand what happened in Arizona because down there they switched coaches. One coach has a history in terms of liking Kyler Murray and not having any real familiarity with Josh Rosen, so they make the move. Usually that kind of thing, when you draft 2 quarterbacks in consecutive years in the top 10, usually that's a fireable offense for a general manager. I guess things have changed now. I guess now you can draft a guy in the top 5 and then kind of put out there the fact that maybe, just maybe, depending upon if we take this 8-game look in his rookie year with him, with a team that doesn't necessarily have everything put into place, we might want to move on from him and draft another quarterback, maybe in the top 5 again. And,
I would push back on that a little bit, Lewis.
Status quo.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.